Good afternoon, everyone. This is our week 8, and this week we're going to discuss about introduction to macroeconomics on week 8. And before the first, we're going to talk about what is macroeconomics. The first thing we're going to learn here. So it says here, the mention said, macroeconomics studies the behavior and the performance of an economy as a whole. It says that macroeconomics is the behavior and performance of an economy. So macroeconomics will tell you about how an economy has performed. What are the behaviors of an economy? How the economy will be behaving. So these things we'll be actually discussing. These major questions addressed by macroeconomics are what, and another, before I go to this question, another point would be this here. That in macroeconomics, we know what is demand, what is supply. We have learned those things. But in macroeconomics, we do not say demand of a company is not part of macroeconomics. Demand of a company or demand of a person is actually part of microeconomics. Okay. So in macroeconomics, what we're going to discuss, we will be discussing about the demand of a country as a whole. Demand of Australia, will say this. Okay, demand of Australia. Now you can ask me, so demand of let's say beef in Australia, or demand of coffee in Australia. Is it macroeconomics? No, it is not macroeconomics. So here you do not say demand or supply or whatever it is of specific any industry or a specific any company or a specific any individual. No, you don't say that. You just say, like we say that, for example, we say, oh, Muhammad has a high demand. Of what? You don't mention that. Okay. Same way, when you talk about demand of a country, you do not specify it in a specific area. It says the whole country as, like whole country will be as one. So you will say demand of Australia. That's what you're going to say. Is this clear to you all, guys? Yeah? Yeah. All right. If I say demand of vaccine in Australia, micro or macro?
Macro?
Micro, yes. You are just saying only you are just saying vaccine.
What was the question?
Yes, please go ahead.
What was the question?
The demand of vaccines in Australia, or Australian demand for vaccine.
Yeah, it's macro, as she said.
It is part of microeconomics. In macro, we do not say any specific product or item or industry or individual company or individual family. No, we don't say that. We say the whole country as a whole. All right. Now, next part is what determines, so major questions addressed by, what does the macroeconomics addresses? It addresses what determines the average income of a country. See, income of a country, not any industry, not any business or company, not any person. Why the average income is high in some countries and low in other countries? Why do prices rise rapidly in some periods, remain unstable in other time period? Look, even they're talking about different time period, but they're talking about the country as a whole, like third quarter Australia's price. Okay, so it's not about a specific country, specific product or item of this. This is macroeconomics. All right. Next is, why do production and employment expand in some years and contract in others? What can the government do to promote rapid growth in income, stabilize prices, and generate employment? What does an economy go through? A business cycle. They said economy go through. See that? Why does the balance of payment go into deficit, and does it matter? So these are the various questions we seek. The answers of these various questions we seek in macroeconomics. Now here is an example of economic performance, global versus domestic. So here we discuss about, let me make it a little bigger. So economic performance, global versus domestic. We don't talk here about the world economy and domestic economies, a country's economy. Economic performance of a country is commonly measured by gross domestic product, GDP. So how a country is performing, how much they earn, how much they have produced. These things will be measured by gross domestic product. What is gross domestic product? All right. Some of you might know it, but I will go through every point of this thing, gross domestic product. So gross domestic product is the market value of all final goods and services produced in a country over a period of time. It says, so GDP or gross domestic product, it is the market value. Remember this thing, very interesting, market value. Market value means what is the price of that item in the market. It means monetary value, okay, of all final goods. Final goods. So final goods means the item is ready for use. All right. For example, let's say that a screw, okay, or a nut, or a bolt. Let's say screwdriver, for example. What is screwdriver? A screwdriver is, I should not say screw actually, because I want to talk about items are used to make other items. We call them capital goods. Okay, that item is known as capital goods. For example, a screw. Okay, so the screw, what is the screw here? The screw is this. Screws are used to produce a car. See that? A car is a final goods ready to be sold. This is called final goods, or ready for the consumers to use. Make sense, guys? That's final goods we call. What about a screw then? Is a screw ready? Yes. A screw is a final goods or ready goods for a automobile company. Make sense? So when a country will be producing screws, okay, and yes, this is a final goods. Okay. Yes. Then you can say here that how about Coca-Cola? Yes, Coca-Cola is a ready goods. How about the bottles, empty bottles of Coca-Cola when the Coca-Cola company purchases? The company who produces empty bottles of Coca-Cola, or the red cap of Coca-Cola, or the blue cap of Pepsi, okay? For that company, those items is ready goods. Or another example, I can say like the plastic. This Coca-Cola company made their own bottles and caps, so they need to purchase some plastic. Okay, so the plastic is the ready item for Coca-Cola company. Okay, the company who produces plastic, they will be actually selling this as a ready-made item, ready goods. So don't get confused in final goods. Okay, final goods and services too. Okay, final goods and services, okay, produced in a country. See that? So market, first thing is GDP is the market value. So market value, which means the monetary value. Okay. of all final goods and services produced in a country, within a country, over a period of time. Normally, this is 1 year. Okay, that's called gross domestic product. How do they measure it? So we have different techniques how to measure it. Okay, we'll talk about it. In 2017, Australia's GDP was how much? 1.81 trillion. Australia's GDP in 2017 was 1.81 trillion. Australia has expanded 0.3% in March quarter in 2017 over the same quarter of previous year during investment drops. During investment means in 2017, investment in the housing sector actually dropped a ton. All right. Okay. So GDP annual growth rate in Australia averaged 0.8% from 1960 to 2017. Look, so 1960 to 2017 is around 57 years. Right? In 57 years, in 57 years' time, Australia, on average, every year they had 0.3% of, okay, 0.3% of. And so what we mean here is that, look, even you have a very small percentage of growth, but if you have this consistent for a long time, okay, it gives you a good reach or a good score. Every year you have like 0.86 every year is really good. Okay. Next is okay, reaching on all higher 4.4% in the first quarter of 1976 and record low -20 in 74. You see that in this 57 years, the highest was 4.4% was the maximum. Okay, 4.4% was the maximum. And lowest was -2.1. Okay. Who reports the GDP? Australian Bureau of Statistics reports this GDP. Okay. All right. And Australia's economy is dominated by the service sector, 65%. So, like these things are like you will find this type of information from a CIA website, or you can find this type of information from different places to collect this information. Okay, and these are the reliable informations. Like the CIA website is reliable. Yes. Australia's economy is dominated by services, so you'll find in Australia, in every economy, we actually call the sector of GDP, sectoral GDP, we call that. The three sectors are there. One is agricultural sector, manufacturing sector, and service sector. Agricultural sector, you know this one, that when the people are actually producing goods from agriculture. Yeah, fishing is also agriculture, then lumberjack is agriculture, timber, yeah, agriculture. These are the extractive industry, we call them, the agricultural industry. Okay. The next is and Australian economy is dominated. Okay. Yes, it is its economic uses, success in recent years has been based on the mining sector. Mining is also part of agriculture, we call the extractive sector, we call that, which is 13.5% of GDP. As foreigners paid more each year for the key commodity export, triggering huge investment in resource infrastructure. Other sector, manufacturing, see, construction, agriculture. Okay. All right. So here you can see world largest economies 2017, 20 largest economy of the world. So this is actually rest of the world. This one is USA itself. China. So USA, China, Japan, Germany, they're always close by these four countries. Okay, but USA is one is too high in that case, yeah. All right. Now, let's talk about what is GDP per capita. We all know what is GDP now, right? So GDP means how much a country is producing. We're going to calculate that in terms of money. So how much a country produces? We cannot say, oh, Australia produces 12,000 or 12,000 avocado, 50,000 Vegemite, 20,000 apples. We're not going to talk about that. We put all together in terms of money. And we say Australia produced this much. All right, this is the thing we call it, the production of Australia GDP in a year of, then we understand when you see the value, the market value, we understand this value is actually about finished goods. Okay. Next is about GDP per capita. What is GDP per capita? GDP per capita tells you how much each person is consuming in a year or earning in a year on an average. Okay. Look, a company will earn $1 trillion. A person will earn some $1,000, right? Okay. Someone is earning, let's say, $400,000, but a company will earn around maybe $1 trillion. Not trillion, of course, that's too high. Yeah. So let's say some companies earning billions. Who is earning billions? 50 billion, $60 billion they're earning. But look at the person, human, individuals, they're earning actually in terms of 100,000, like this, 200, 300,000, 50,000 like that. So we do not say individual, we actually say on average. So how do we calculate the average? So GDP divided by population. Okay, GDP divided by population of a country will be calculated like that. Okay. The GDP per capita is the GDP divided by the median population between 2011 and 2016, and US is 55670. So, well, which equivalent to Australian dollar $74,000 for US GDP per capita. Okay, GDP per capita actually tells you about the standard of living of a country too. Okay, GDP per capita also tells you about the standard of living of the country as well. All right. I'm sorry. So Australia ranks 9th in terms of GDP per capita in 2017. So Australia is 9th country. The ranking is 9 in the world in terms of GDP. Okay. Then Luxembourg has the highest, 101,715 GDP per capita. Qatar has the highest GDP per capita, 129. Okay. So different country has changes their ranking in a year, how much they produce, what the population is, depends on that. China's actually, China's GDP is very, very high, second in the world. But when you divide it by population, you will see the per capita GDP is very low because the population is too high. So if you want to increase the GDP per capita, GDP or GDP per capita, okay, or per person, you can also say GDP per person, also the same thing. Okay, but normally as a professional, you say GDP per capita. Okay, this is economic jargon. Yes, so that's why the Chinese economy is very strong. The GDP is very high. I already showed you guys in here that look at China. You see, just next to USA. But for other countries, it's very high. See? But when you divide it by population, China GDP per capita will be low. Okay. Now this is the important one between two countries. Purchasing power parity, we call that. Purchasing power parity between two countries. A and B is the ratio of the number of units of a country's currency needed to purchase the country A, the same quantity of specific good of services as 1 unit of currency of countries B will purchase in country B. Very long line. Let me explain you guys. What do they mean? So the mean here is that this is called purchasing power parity. What is that? It means two countries, country A and B. I'll give an example. I will give you an example. Let's say Australia, Germany, two countries. Okay, so the Australia, let's say, is selling, for example, Australia is selling, for example, let's say diamond. Okay, Australia is selling diamond, for example. Now, $1 Australian will be how much? Let's say 0.6 euro. Germany is using euro, right? All right. So how much German have to pay to purchase 1 kilogram? 1 kilogram is too high. Actually, you should say 1 carat of diamond. Okay. So they will actually measure these things from their economic point of view. I mean, currency, I mean, yeah. Okay. So 1 euro is equal to, for example, 1.5. 1 euro is equal to, let's say, 1.5 Australian dollar. So if Germany needs to purchase a diamond from Australia, and the price of diamond is, for example, let's say 15 Australian dollar, for example. I'm giving an example. A diamond is 15 Australian dollar. So what Germany going to do? Germany is going to pay Australia how much? 1 euro. Sorry, 10 euro. The exchange rate we bring up. Okay. So same quantity of goods, for example, okay. For example, same quantity of goods, if another country needs to purchase from Australia, let me check the exchange rates here. Okay. So how much the comparison of two countries, okay, how much each country needs to pay to purchase Australian diamond, for example. So look at here now that Germany is paying 10 euro to buy 1 carat of diamond, 15 Australian dollar. Same price, okay, same price. Now, if USA needs to do, okay, if USA needs to pay Australia, how much is USA will pay? Okay, how much USA will pay? So that time USA will have to pay more than 10 euros, but less than 15. Okay, how come? So the exchange rate between Australia and United States is, let's say, 1.4. So what USA is gonna, what Australia gonna do? So we'll say 1.4. Let me check. Give me a second. So 15 divided by 1.4, it will be actually, let's say, 10.11, for example. 11 US dollar they will have to pay, right? Look, let me explain it a little bit better. One carat diamond. One carat diamond is equal to, let's say, 15 AUD, Australian dollar. Or you can write like this, a dollar, they understand Australian dollar. Okay. All right. So you can say this the same. 1 carat diamond is equal to USD or US dollar. 11. 1 carat diamond will be how much? It will be, let's say, see that? Now, this is called purchasing power parity, the power of currency to purchase this 1 carat of gold. I'm sorry, diamond. Can we say 10 euro is equal to 11 US dollar? Yeah, can we say that? So we'll say this way, that 10 USD is equal to 11 equal to 10, right? So we will say this way, 1 USD is equal to how much? 10 divided by 11. 10 divided by 11. Okay. You can say that. Or you can say 1 euro is equal to 1.1 euro. So this is the purchasing power parity. These things we use. So let's go in here. So this says purchasing power parity between two countries. So in two countries, purchasing power parity, say here, A and B, is the ratio of the number of units of country's currency. How much their currency need to purchase a country's same quantity of specific good or services as 1 unit of country's B currency will purchase in country's B. Okay. Purchasing power parity can be expressed in the currency of either of the countries. So you can see it about any countries, how much they can pay. Okay. Now, if we go back in here, that 1 carat diamond is available in both USA, Australia and Germany. Let's take USA off. Okay. So when we asked Germany, hello Germany, we Australians paid 10 Australian dollar to buy 1 carat of diamond. How much you pay in your country? They have diamond too. They're not purchasing from us. They have their diamond as well. So they said, oh, in my country, I pay actually, for example, it's an example, 9 euro. My citizens pay 9 euro to purchase a diamond, a carat of diamond. Now in Australian euro, let's say 10 as well. Yeah, that's it. So the ratio of these two currency is purchasing power parity. Make sense? We are measuring them in terms of one item. This is one term that we need to learn. In practice, they are usually computed among large numbers of countries and expressed in terms of single currency with US dollars. I already showed you data by US dollars, okay, as the base of numerated currency. So global purchasing power parities and real expenditure 2005 international conference. Let's move on. Okay. So this is economic resilience. Economic resilience, real GDP growth to 1990 to 2014, saying that resilience in terms of that how strong the economy goes, how strong they are, and they can handle when there are some disaster within an economic system. I want to show you guys something very interesting. World Bank, that's what I want to say. So I will say GDP of China. The thing I want to draw you guys' attention in here. Look, this is the time the whole world, 2008, the whole world had some problems. So I will take it. I will show you guys this thing, show me these things in data bank. All right, country selected 1, series is 1, time frame is 12. I don't need the 12 time frame. That's fine. 2000. I need 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12. Should be fine. Forgot slowly. Yeah. 5 to 15 is 10 years time. I will show you. Okay. This is the time frame. And the series GDP is fine. I don't mind with GDP series. I would say the country I like to change here, some country I want to show you guys, the major countries of the world. Let's say here, USA. Okay. USA, UK, let's say Germany. Okay. I would say, or China, of course, that's China. Of course, China. Oh, China already selected. And Germany. I would like to add India as well here. That's also very interesting. India. Bangladesh you can add to. Bangladesh, then you can say Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia here. Saudi Arabia. And I'd like to add Kuwait and Qatar. I'm just selecting some countries from different continents, and they are actually good. Kuwait. Could you find apply changes? Okay. Now I want to show that in a chart. It's showing like this. I'll download these things. Download. Okay. I want this all to be numbers. Okay. And I want to actually use that. So country I have, and the numbers I have here. I want to draw this information here. Okay. All right. So look, what interesting part here, the select that yes, actually looks. So look, what I'm trying to establish here that at one stage, every country actually gone down with their economic performance, but some countries, they have actually gone up. Which countries has gone up here? Like you can say the blue or China, India, Bangladesh countries has gone up. You know why is that? Because their uh, consumer is too high. That was the reason actually. This was the reason that they have actually done well in those countries. Okay. Other countries, the problem with their population is low. That's true. Their GDP per capita is also low. That's true. But when when the question of resilience comes up, consumerism is very important in that case. Okay. So here, global economic outlook. I think that's also the try to show it here. 12, 13, 14, 15, that how these countries, so that is going down and how they recovered this thing. That's what I wanted to show. Here, these things are too large actually. Let's see if I can make some sense to you guys in terms of these things. So maybe we can change the type, change the chart type to this. So better picture. Look, this country has gone up. But why the showing is 2, 3, 4? I wanted to show these things as like year, then I could actually talk better which year like this. So yeah, so where this I can see it is selected as number, but why the showing it 0, 1, 2? Anyway, I don't want to spend time on this one. So I can understand. Look, every country is going down. So this is the time I can see fourth. Okay, how do I know? Look, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 8, 9, that's the time. Okay, that's the time. In Excel, they're actually showing you the ESS like that. So that's all right. So look, every country is going down. You see, down, down. This one a little bit up. This blue, look, this red also going down. I think this is definitely USA. The red one, the GDP is too high, and this one definitely China going high. Then you see this blue one, light blue one, this is also going high. This country is definitely India. This black one also going stable or going high. This country I can see here. This is actually from Bangladesh, I will believe. Okay. So I can make it bigger for you guys. Yeah. You guys can see this. Can you see that? It's actually gone a little bit up. Actually, you can see that a little bit up. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to show you guys, that in global financial crisis, most of the countries have gone down, but Chinese economy has gone up. They're very strong. Australian GDP, you can see that Australian GDP is in here. From how long? Quarter 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, oh, 7. 7 to do 17 to 11 years of data we have in here for Australian GDP. How they fluctuate. Sometimes they go down, sometimes they go up. This is in quarter wise. We're showing here. Here's Australia's economy. You can see that Australia's top export market are actually the countries that Australia export. You see who is the Australian trading partner? China. Is our trading partner. We have a good business with them. Next one is Japan. Then here these other countries. So Britain is very low. Taiwan is very low. India is also not that high. Singapore is not that. So then South Korea is good. USA is good. So Australia's trading partner are actually China, Japan, Korea, USA, New Zealand is also not that bad. New Zealand, Singapore, India. India is actually lower than New Zealand and Singapore. India has not much trading with Australia. But China, Japan, South Korea, USA, these countries are actually very good Australian trading partners. We have good business with them. So Australia actually sells a lot of things to these people. Not much. With India, Taiwan, and Britain is also not much. A lot of people might think Australia and Britain have lots of trade. No, it's not really. Sectoral composition, I already discussed this thing, but when we will be discussing about three parts, okay? I will show you guys where do we get this data from. We get this data from CIA. CIA.gov.au. Not AU. CIA.gov.USA. This is CIA, Central Intelligence. This is CIA website. You go, you find research things like that. Resources, you can take resources. The fact book, we call that. Okay. Let me get it straight from the CIA World Fact Book. So they have all the data of the country, of every country is organized in there. That is fact book. That is fact book. World Fact, the World Fact Book. So you type any country's name in here and you find such. Explore all countries, for example. All countries. Now let's go to China. Okay. Photos of China. I would like to talk about the economy, so I'll take you guys straight to the economy. Economic overview. And you will see here we call sectoral GDP will be one part in there, real GDP, purchasing power parity. See that we just learned purchasing power parity. So here they will do it in terms of US dollars. See, the real GDP growth to discuss, real GDP. We are coming about real GDP per capita very soon. Per capita, we know GDP per capita, but what is real GDP per capita, we'll discuss it very soon. GDP exchange rate, inflation rate, credit ratings. Yeah, GDP composition by sector of origin. See, agriculture, industry means manufacturing, and service sector. Okay, all the countries you will find the service sector is too high. Good countries like good strong economy. Okay. All right. So Australia sectoral is like, if you want to see Australia's one, let's have a look in Australia's one. So let's go to Australia. Australia. We go to Australia's economy and see here. Sectoral. It's a sectoral. Yeah, composition sectoral. Service sector is 71.2% is 2017. I don't know why they didn't update up to 2017. They should update it. Anyway. All right. 71%. Service 8%, which 2015 they're talking in here. Okay. Anyway, the 70 is 71%, but 2015 is 58%. Okay. Mining is 7%. So mainly we go for three. The other you can add two other sectors, but in Australia, construction and mining is very important sector. That's why they showed mining and that's why we're talking here, the mining and construction separately. Normally, the three sectors we're talking in. All right, now let's talk about macroeconomic aggregates. What does it mean? Okay. Major issues of macroeconomic studies are gross domestic product, employment, unemployment. These things, the other things to check when we talk about macroeconomics part. We talk about GDP, employment, unemployment, inflation, balance of payment. These are the things we check mainly. So GDP is about goods and services. Employment, unemployment is about labor market. And inflation is about the asset or price, asset values. Okay, international trade balance of payment, international trade balance of payment, actually, those things. Okay, these are the things we discuss in macroeconomics. And what is the target or objectives? The objective of any any country is high GDP, high GDP and fast growth rate. Develop more quicker. Objective of macroeconomics. Low unemployment. Okay. The target is zero inflation. Budget should be balanced. Balance of payment should be balance of payment. What is balance of payment? Is the what is your transactions with other countries? That's called balance of payment. We'll talk about it when the balance of payment chapter. Okay. And a stable exchange rate. These are the 6 objectives we always try to maintain. Okay, that's a target of any economy, that we want to have high GDP and fast growth rate, lower unemployment, zero inflation or lowest. Zero inflation is not possible, but they will try to keep it as low as possible. Okay, low is cushion, zero is questionable. Okay, the budget should be a balanced budget. Okay, then balance of payment is about the credit with other countries, is it positive or negative? Okay, so when you export with other countries, every country wants to be in positive or negative. They want to see that. So it means surplus. Is it possible surplus and zero foreign debts? Okay, these things we try to see. Like when you make a purchase from one country and make purchase from one country to another country, how do they actually deal with that? Stable exchange rate needs to be stable. And how do they actually achieve those objectives? They actually use some of these instruments or policies, we call them. Which one of them is fiscal policy. Fiscal policy is about, I'm talking very briefly, okay, it's just the introduction, okay? We have, like, for fiscal policy, monetary policy, we have one whole chapter for these things. I can show you guys in here, you can see that. Let's see this in here. After 8, just started, 8, 9, you'll see. Unemployment, we have one chapter. Inflation, we have another chapter. Monetary fiscal policy, we have another chapter. Balance of payment, we have another chapter. See that? So these things we'll talk in details after you come back from Christmas and New Year break. Okay, so just try to show you here that what are the different instruments we actually use to reach to our macroeconomic objectives. Okay, or a good economy of a country. All right, so we have, you can see fiscal policies, monetary policies. These are actually different types of instrument that the government applies to reach to their economic objectives, okay, which are now higher GDP and higher GDP growth rate, unemployment, inflation, then a positive balanced budget, then a positive or surplus in terms of balance of payments with other countries, stable exchange rate. These are the different objectives we have in macroeconomics. Okay. So fiscal policy includes government expenditure and income and expenditure, like tax and government expenditure. That's fiscal policy. Monetary policy is actually dealing with interest rate. Okay. Interest rate mainly they deal, money supply, interest rate, these things that they deal with. Industrial policy, industrial relation policies. This is about the industrial relations, mean what will be the relationship between the employee and employer in an industry. That's industrial policy about. Okay. and foreign economic policies, right? So this one is about, this one we do. So look, fiscal policies, this is about expenditure and development, government earning the money from as a tax, as revenue, and expenditure is about how the government is utilizing those money for the development of the country. And monetary policy is about interest rate inflation, remember? These things are the target for by using monetary policy, inflation rate. Industrial policy about employment, unemployment. Foreign economic policy about balance of payment, exchange rate, those things. Okay. So macroeconomic reform, deregulation, freeing the market, privatization, supply side economy, long-term policy. So these are the different policies we take. So these are the different instruments we use to start to increase the economic activity, or you can say economic health of a country. Okay. Conflict in objective. In objectives, you have conflicts too. What are the conflicts? Look, at one stage when you will be studying this unemployment chapter and inflation chapter, you will find, oh, if you decrease the inflation, because we try to keep the inflation rate too low, not zero, but inflation rate, we try to keep it as low as possible. But the problem is if you decrease the inflation rate, your unemployment will be high. Our objective, look at here, our objective, look, we say low unemployment and low inflation, but the problem is low inflation will cause high unemployment. So how are you going to actually achieve that? This is the conflict in there. Okay, so they bring a balancing. We try to let a little bit of inflation so that unemployment rate can be controlled. Decreasing budget deficit may lead to increased unemployment. If you decrease the budget deficit, your unemployment will be actually increased. Okay. And improving the balance of payments may be at the cost of higher unemployment. Rapid growth of GDP may increase balance of payment deficit and increase inflation. So there are some conflict in there as well. So four macroeconomic objectives are linked. Okay, they're connected to each other. All right. Now the question comes up, how do you measure the economic performance of a country? Output and prices. Okay. We said that we are going to actually calculate, the a GDP of a country in terms of market value. The market value of current production value at current prices, current market prices. Okay. Do you have monetary, do you have nominal and real? Yeah, they're coming up soon. I will let you talk about the current production, current market price. This thing has some issues. We'll talk about it soon. Very soon, coming up to one slide. Yeah. So GDP is here. GDP refers to the market value of all final goods and services produced in the country during a specific period of time. It could be a year, it could be quarterly, it could be half yearly, depends which year, for which time you are actually measuring the GDP for. Okay. Look, please note, GDP distinguishes dollar value of final goods and services, dollar value of real. Here it is, here it comes. We'll talk about it soon. So now another problem is GDP excludes some of the items. What are the things GDP excludes? Non-productive goods and services. Second-hand goods is not considered in GDP. Second-hand goods, not. Okay, included in GDP. Transfer payments, when the government pays you for social security money, like in Australia, central league payment, these things called transfer payments. Non-marketable goods, housework, home gardening, these things. You're helping you are cooking, for example. Okay, so let's say that Hung is cooking at home. Nobody says give him any credit. He's producing something, but the same good when it is cooked in a restaurant, that is actually calculated, that is actually considered in GDP, but not when Hung is actually cooking at home. Come on, the same thing you're doing, right? But because whose food is not being sold in market. Even it tastes good, it's not sold in market. That's why it's not being considered. But the goods is produced in a restaurant by the chef is considered. That is being sold. Okay. Underground economy is also not considered in GDP. What is underground? Okay. Illegal money, gambling, drugs, these things, they are very big market. We call that black economy. Okay, black economy is much more bigger than white economy. Okay. And undeclared off the book, like cash payment. Some people who are cash in hand, those things are not considered in GDP. Okay, waiter, busker, thieves, these things. Unpaid work. Unpaid. Let's say you're helping your parents in his business, but you're not being paid. Unpaid work. This is not also considered in GDP. Free items are not considered in GDP. All right, externalities are also not considered in GDP too, like we talked about externalities. Remember? The good externalities are not considered in GDP. Bad one, of course, no. All right. So one main problem to aggregate or lump together different goods and services, how do we add apples and cars? I already told you that one, that how do we actually measure them? It is done by the Austrian Bureau of Statistics. So they can calculate it through using GST, or how much they are doing. Sometimes they declare that how much they have produced. Okay, so that's the thing, that every year they will be declaring that how much is your income. Okay, company will also declare into Austrian taxation office that how much is their income, how much is their expenses. So government can, from those information, Austrian Bureau of Statistics have some experts who can actually calculate from those informations what is the GDP of a country. It will never be accurate, but you can definitely find an idea how much a country's GDP is. And the interesting part is that every country follow the same rule. How do they actually calculate the GDPs? That's why you can compare one country to another country. Okay. All right. So I'm not going to talk about this one at this stage, later. Okay. Nominal and real GDP. How do you know? We know GDP is actually that it tells you about the market value of goods and services that is produced within a country in a given period of time. Okay. It says that market value of all final or finished goods and services which are produced within a country in a given period of time. That's what is GDP. All right. So now the thing is that when you actually measure them in current market price, that is nominal GDP. When you calculate them in real market price, that is known as real. How do they mean by real? I will explain. I will explain how do they do this thing. But look, nominal GDP is measured in a current price. So this year's price. And real GDP is measured in constant price. Okay. How it is, I will explain a little bit more about this one. And I would say that you guys should expect some questions from nominal and real GDP in the final exam. Okay. Yes. How do they do these things? We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. Let's see. Okay. Let me give you an example on this one. Let's say a country. So a country produces, let's say, 2017, 2018, so let's say 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay, 2025. So let's say a country is producing two items. Okay, a country is producing two items. What are they producing? Let's say that this country produces only noodles. Okay, and let's say shoes, and let's say noodles, shoes, and what else? And this pen. Okay. So now, let's say noodles, quantity, price. Okay, shoes, same, quantity and price. Pen, the same, quantity, price. Okay. All right. So let's say the noodles are being produced, let's say 200 units. Price is, let's say, $3. Okay. And other year they produce, let's say, 250. This year they produce, let's say, 275. Let's say they produce, let's say, 225. This year, let's say, 285. This year, let's say, price is, let's say, slowly increasing. 3.5, 4, 4.5. Let's say again 3.75. Okay, here let's say 4.7. Okay, this is the country's production. Shoes, we're gonna calculate something as well. Okay, and what's the time? 4:47. Okay. All right, let me do it very quick. And here, let's say the producers here is shoes is like, let's say, 150 pairs they're producing, and the price of shoes is 20, and the hair price of shoes is 25, 29, let's say 30, 28, let's say 32. Okay, quantity they actually going sometime. 75, 200, 220, 190. Let's say here is for example, let's say 10 the same way. Let's say 500, 600, 570. I'm just doing randomly, okay, but closely in not very random, like, yeah. This is the thing they have, the productions. Okay. Right. And here I'm going to actually show you when you calculate, look, I'm calculating here nominal GDP now. Nominal GDP I'm calculating now. Okay. How do you calculate nominal GDP of this country? We calculate nominal GDP in this way. Nominal GDP is equal to quantity of noodles, okay, multiplied by price. All right, let me do it in here. Plus, if you guys can see that, so I'm going to actually make it. Let me make it a little bigger. So you guys can see that very clearly that how I am going to actually do these things. Okay, so nominal GDP is equal to, okay, is equal to this multiplied by this plus this multiplied by this. It means quantity and price I'm multiplying, okay? Plus quantity okay, multiplied by price. Where did it go? BC, BE, it should be E. Okay. All right, so this is the case we have, and we put them in bracket. Otherwise, they will get confused. So look, how I am calculating it, I am using the price of at that specific year. 46,000 is the nominal GDP of that country. So here is the GDP of that country at the year. Okay, nominal GDP. When you calculate the GDP based on the same year's price, this is nominal GDP. And real GDP is this. When you will be calculating, no. Copy this one. Yeah. It's fine. Why is it still like that? Oh, I got CD like that. No, I don't need that. Give me a second. Let me copy this whole formula. That should be fine. Yeah, so real GDP will be equal to, we are going to do this way. Yeah, the first one will be the same. In this case, I'm going to use 2015 as my base year. Okay, I'll be using 2015 as my base year. So whatever the price comes up, whatever the price in like 2015 price is my base year price. So all these prices will become useless. See, these prices will become useless. Okay, because we are using the same price. Or I can do it. Actually, I can do it in a better and easy ways. Let me show you guys how I can do that. That is nominal GDP. I'm going to do it here. That is real GDP. So here, if I go for real, that is very quick. Real GDP. Okay. Here, just say this is the price. Price remains the same. So whatever your production is, price remains the same. Okay. So I am actually calculating. Yeah. Real GDP is this. When I was calculating real GDP, that time I actually used the same price. Which price? The base year's price. Base year in my case, base year is which year is my base year? 2015 is my base year. So whatever your production is, okay, I am using the same price. I don't care what is the latest price, market price. I'm not calculating the market price. I'm calculating price is constant. See that price is constant. That's what I'm calculating here. Okay. See, price is 2222 all the time. So even the price is 900 in this year. Look, now you can see here clearly that on 2020, nominal GDP shows 13,000 is their nominal GDP, but real GDP is actually 7,000. And if you can see here, 2018 and 19, look, 8632, nominal GDP will say our GDP has increased very, even the production is not that high, just because comparing to other year, look, there is still showing the GDP has increased. Look, 8632, 8638. See that? Almost similar, a little bit increase, but that is nominal GDP. But in real GDP, no, the GDP actually gone down. See that? 57254. Makes sense, guys, what I'm trying to say? So when you calculate your nominal GDP, you will be using current year market price. But it means same year's market price. This is current year market price. And here, when you're using real GDP, you will be using the every year of quantity production should be multiplied with the base year's price. So it means you'll be using the base year's price or constant price they mean here. That's the difference. So this is nominal GDP is measured in current prices, but real GDP is measured in constant prices. Okay, the existed that previous year or the base year. They mean. Normally base year we say, not the previous year, base year. Previous year we use to see that every year of growth to calculate that we see the previous years. Normally we use the base year. Now let me show you here. That's very important. That's why I'm spending some time in here to show you guys that. Look, GDP constant, you can see that. GDP constant, can you see that? GDP constant? GDP constant means this is your real GDP. GDP constant. And look at here, GDP current. This is your nominal GDP. Make sense, guys? This is your nominal GDP. GDP current. Current dollar means, yeah, nominal GDP in US dollar. That's Chinese. Chinese economies, Chinese GDP in China's nominal GDP in US dollar. This is the thing is here. But when I talk about this one, okay, there I said GDP constant. When I say constant, I have to show the year, which year you use as a base year. 2015 is a base year. All right. But when you go for current, you don't have to use the any year because it is, we know current is actually measured in current year's value. Hope this thing is clear. Any questions for me so far, guys? Any questions?
Yeah, with the base year, if we're given, if say we're in an exam and given a heap of years, how do we determine which year is the base year?
But we'll ask you to do that. We'll ask you, we'll mention you which year. If in the exam, if you give you like 2 years, we give you, for example, if I give you only for 2 years, let's say I'm giving you just 18 and 19, let's say I'm giving just 18 and 19. So, you know, 19 is base year will be 18, previous year. But if I give you like this, lot of years together, then I will mention you which year to use as a base year.
No worries.
All right. A dynamic economy. In macroeconomics, we learn about the circular flow. What is it? This is very important for the circular flow to learn. Okay. So this is the Keynesian. Okay. Keynesian and classical, neoclassical and neoclassical of monetary. Okay. This what they say here is that how our money is being circulated within the economy. That's what we're gonna learn now. Okay, that's what we're gonna learn now. So this is the thing is that you're using here. Okay. Let's see if this is a good picture or not. All right, let me find out a better picture for you guys for circular flow of income. circular flow of income. Okay, all right. So I would like to see 5 models. Actually, I don't want to do for 1 model. I want to do for 5 models. 5 models. Here it is. Hmm. 1, 2, 3. All right. Didn't it? Oh, yeah, they did. Government. Yeah, it is there. 5 sectors. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Look, first I will show you guys that what are these household and farms mean. Here the 5 sector model I call that because you can see the bold items. Farm, household, 2 sector model. Financial sector, 3. Government, 4. Overseas, 5. This is called 5 sector. Okay. How does it work? Let me show you guys how does it work. Okay, I'll take you. Okay. This one, first I'll show you 2 sector model, 2 factor circular model. I'll talk about that one first. All right. This is very important for you guys to learn as well. Two sector model. All right. 2 factor circular flow model. Household and business or farms sometimes. Household means the individual citizens, they mean. Okay. And business is the farm is the business we call. So what happens in this case is this. Who owns the resources of the country? Resources, I mean, like for example, let's say all these roads, then street light, ocean, fish, forest. Who owns these things? Kangaroos. Who owns these things, guys? Who is
The government, Mohammed.
Yes.
The government.
The government. Anybody else? Anybody else want to say? Government. That's what we think. It's not true. Government doesn't own them.
It's the citizens of the country.
Yes, citizens of the country owns them. So what does the government do? Government has been recruited to manage our resources because we are not efficient. And if even we are efficient, let's say we have 25 million people in this country. So tomorrow, if I say that okay, we have housing problem in New South Wales or Australia. Okay, we want to chop off, clean all those forest, bush, and expand for the house is important. Somebody says like this. Okay, another person will say, no, we need forest. We can sleep under the we can sleep under the tree, no problem, but we cannot cut the trees. The different people will have different views. That's what I'm trying to say. They cannot come to an united decisions or uniform decision. They cannot come. That's why we recruit the government. So we give every year. We have we will be not every year, after every 3 years in Australia. Okay, all these political parties, they will come in front of you and tell you, I want the job to manage your resources. Please vote me. Who gets the maximum vote? Then we know the majority of the people of the country have chosen this party to manage resources for next 3 years. That's what is part of democracy. Democracy is the part, only the part is the majority is the democracy here. But the job is given to them as what? To manage our resources. Make sense? That's why when we pay the taxes, we're giving our money to the government to utilize it. When you see they did a corruption, no, you are not a good guy. You stole our money. Get out. They need to resign. That was not the commit. That was not the job we gave you. Make sense, guys? After 3 years, if they have done well, you can continue. They can again, the vote will come up, and we can vote them again. Yes, they manage well. If majority of the people says so, they will have the job. If majority of the people says no, they did not do well, they will be leaving. Right? That's the case. Like before we said Tonya about we gave a chance. Then before that we gave Julia Gillard, Kevin Gard, a lot of people we gave the chances to manage their resources. Okay, so every year they come to you to look for an appointment. You are the employer to recruit them to do your job. So recruited them to manage your resources. That's their job. Make sense? So who owns it? Household are the people who owns them. And we have actually classified all the resources in 4 things. Okay, what are the 4 things we have classified all the resources? This one: land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. All resources will fall into these 4 categories. All the land, labor, all the people, we all are working. We are all a labor, starting from Scott Morrison to a homeless person who is working. So all these people are labor. Who is working, they're labor. Don't think just blue collar people is the labor here. No, everybody is labor who is working. That's what we call labor. Capital come in 2 ways. Physical capital, a lot of physical capital, human capital, natural capital, lots of capital classification there. But anyway, in general, we call that capital. Like let's say a machine is a capital, physical capital. Your experience is a capital. Labor's human capital. Your experience is important, it's a capital for you. Your knowledge. My capital is my knowledge. My lecturing is my labor. The land, the campus is the land. If it is online, the home from home, we're giving online lectures. The home is my land here. Entrepreneur, we're working under a management, like the businesses. So I'm working under La Trobe University's management. That's the entrepreneur comes here, the management here. So we need these 4 things. Any item you produce, you will need these 4 things. Okay? Factors of production, 4 things will be coming in here. Not only labor, 4 things will be coming up here. Okay? And then you could ask me, oh, are the resources coming here? Resources coming as a capital. Okay, resources are actually capital. So what we do, these things, this land, labor, capital, everything will be useless if it is not utilized by the business properly to produce goods and services. Okay, you have your money not invested, it is useless. You have skills, that's your capital. If you don't use it, it's useless. You have land, you're not producing anything in the land, useless. So we have to make these items as a productive. So what do? We do not know, we citizens do not know how to produce it. So what do? We give all these factors of production to the business. You see that? So look at this line, the upper light blue line. You see that? Upper light blue line. This is actually, so household is giving factor of production to the business. When the business take these things, in return, business will be actually, now you see here, business will actually giving them in return. You see the dark blue, upper dark blue. Okay, upper dark blue. In return, business will give them for 4 things. Business will give them 4 items. For land, they will give them rent. Okay. For labor, they will be given wages. Okay. For capital, they will be given interest. We just give them a general name. Entrepreneur, we give them profit. In return, we give them these things. Who is we? The farm, I mean. Look. So look on the upper, light blue, factors of production is going to the business. In return, business is now dark blue. Business is giving them wages, dividend, rents, these things. For 4 factors of production, they give them 4 things in return. Then what business does is that business utilizes those 4 factors of production. Business utilizes those 4 factors of production and produces goods and services. Okay. After they produce the goods and services, they give it to the citizens as a goods and services. Yes, we have produced by using your land, labor, capital organization. We have used socks, shirt, food, these, those. We produce all these items. So household is going to actually there. So business is offering them goods and services, and the household is actually using those money here. Rent, wages, interest, profit, they're all money. See that all is money. So they're actually using those money, the money they receive from business, they're actually giving it back to the business. And what they're enjoying? Goods and services. Make sense, guys? This is circular flow, we call them. Make sense? What I say? How the economy works. Any questions for me? No. Now, you guys can say, oh, so business is taking our resources and giving us the money, then giving us the goods and services back and taking all our money back. Is it really that simple world? No. Now it comes about the 5. So you understand this resources output now. That's why they did it only on the 2 items they did. I just wanted to explain these 2 in details. That's why I showed you this one, this diagram. Now look, is it really that simple? No, 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 no. Household is not that dumb to give them all the money. What they do, they save some money, savings. See that? Some money they save. Okay, that household pays taxes even. Okay, and household actually give some money to other countries overseas to bring their fine items, good items, better items. So not all the money going back to the farms. No, some money is leaked out of this circular flow and goes into savings, taxation, and imports. Now, the interesting thing is that, again, this money that is being leaked out of this circular flow will be actually coming back to the circular flow again. How? Look at that. Savings, you are saving this money. Where you are saving? In financial sector, in bank. Bank again collect your money, the savings, and give it back to the business as a loan to the or investment. Make sense, guys? And savings will be always equal to the investment in macroeconomic point of view. And tax, you pay the tax, right? The government is taking some money out of the, so giving the tax. Whom are you giving the tax to? Government. Government again give this tax money back to the economy by using government expenditure, transfer payment, lot of ways. Government give it back to the economy. And again, the money has been gone out of the economy to the other countries, overseas sector, because of import. Let's say someone has brought something from France, some good wine, okay, some perfume, some things from some coffee from Brazil, Colombia, right? So the money is going to those countries. You know what? Those money also come back because the farms within the country also send some goods, sell some items to those countries and bring the money that our citizens spend to those countries, bring it back by expanding, by exporting. Make sense, guys? How? Circular flow. This is called circular flow of income. That's how it works. All right. All right. So that's what they're explaining in here. That's what. Okay. Here is the withdrawal and injection. Oh, they actually have it. So you see, STM is, so withdrawal will be equal to injection. So that's what we mean here. Look, the money has been leaked out of the economy, will be again injected back to the economy in some ways. Savings, we showed here, savings will be injected back by financial sectors, taxation money will be injected back by the government sector, and import will be actually will be injected back by export. Okay, that's what they explain. So we give it like STM. STM means savings, tax, and import. Injection, investment, government expenditure, and export coming in. So STS plus T plus M should be equal to I plus G plus X. That's how they mean. Okay. What next? Oh, now they're showing you here that how the ABS is actually measure our economic activity. I already explained you these things. There are 3 different ways ABS done that. These things are known as income approach, production approach, and expenditure approach. In some books, they will say income, output, and expenditure approach. 3 different ways they actually calculate it. Okay. What is the income of its citizens and the companies? They can do that way, or they can see how much is the expenditure of the citizens and the business. They can do in that way too, or they can go production, how much they have produced, that way too. So yeah, so how do they do these things? They actually do these things by this way. Look, GDP will be equal to aggregate expenditure or aggregate demand, which will be equal to C plus I plus G plus X minus M. C is the consumption, I is the investment, G is the government expenditure, X is the export, M is the import. Okay, so what is consumption? Whatever you consume. Since morning, what did you consume? Who is gonna tell me? Let me see. What did you consume since morning? Abiraj Hanja.
So, like what I eat?
What did you consume since morning?
Well, I had toast in the morning. I had an energy drink. And I had chicken for lunch, which all I've had to eat today. Nothing else.
Udanta, what did you consume?
Sorry?
What did you consume since morning today?
I consumed transportation.
Sherman? Okay, Sherman Lopez, she might be mute now. Okay. Okay, anyway, let me go. You know what, Abiraj and Udanta? Not true. Abiraj, when you wake up in the morning, what did you do first?
Brush my teeth.
Then you use some water, you consume some water, you consume some toothpaste, you consume the brush.
Yeah, and energy. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. Then
Yeah,
you're living in a house, you consume some rent too.
Fair enough.
See that?
Yeah.
Yes. Then you wearing your dresses, you consume some dresses too.
Yeah, like hair products and all that as well.
Hair products as well. Yeah.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah. So is hair growing well?
Sorry?
Is hair growing well?
My hair?
Yeah.
I think so.
I'm just kidding. All right, anyway, let's move on. Since you said hair product, then I said, okay. All right, now here. Nominal GDP in Australia 2000. Oh, so now showing you nominal GDP. Okay, I already did that thing. Okay. So economic growth and the business cycle we'll talk in here. So this is the thing is business cycle. Business will always have some ups and downs. There will be always some ups and downs. Okay. So you can see here. So business starts a blue line. It is going down and going up, going down, going up, going down, going up. Look at this one. This one, look, is when it's going up, we call that when they reach to the peak, we call that peak position. When it starts to going down, you see here, I'll show you. Let's make it a little bit bigger so you can see that. You can see it here. Okay, see. So when it's going down, you see downward. First cycle starts in here, is going up, up, up. Then this is called boom. You see at the top, boom. Then when it's going to the peak, the highest boom, it starts to drop slowly. That's called slump. It's going down, slump, slump. After when you start to go like from the normal time to go, you start to go to the downward more, we call that recession, negative, negative. And when it's reached to the lowest level, we call that trough. Set trough. Then after that way, after trough, they start to recover. You see, when they start to recover, when they reach to the normal situation, when they go more than normal, this is a boom, and reach to the peak again. Again it goes down, again goes up, down, up, down. That's what they do. Okay, this is the normal phase of business cycle. Okay, and it's explained in here. Look, upturn, expansion, peaking, slow down. So yeah, so different book, like different languages they use. It's not a big deal. I think we have almost done. Okay, so why do we have these causes of, why do you have the fluctuations in actual growth? Well, it depends on the policies, government policies. That's very important. Demand side policies, supply side policies. We'll talk in detail. Today's class is just the introductory to make you familiar with the terms and terminologies we use in macroeconomics. That's what I'm trying to teach you for today, the introductory class, okay? Now let's talk about unemployment. What is unemployment? Unemployment, an unemployed person is classified as someone aged 15 years and over who is actively looking for a job but did not find one in last 4 weeks, I think. Okay, that's an unemployed person. If someone was looking for a job but not looking for anymore, that person is not called unemployed. That person is called not in labor force. Okay, so there are 3 different types of unemployment. Frictional unemployment, which refers to workers who have job skills but are temporarily unemployed because they are between jobs. So one job to another job, they're switching. That's frictional unemployment. Structural unemployment, it means that because of some structural change within the economy, that will be known as structural unemployment. Like that, let's say the country has gone from let's say 3G to 5G. Now the people who are expert working in 3G, some of them will be losing their jobs. Yeah, because I'm giving an example. Okay, some of you might argue, oh, 3G people can work in 5G too. I'm not getting into that argument at this stage. I'm just giving an example. It's a technological changes. People, they used to harvest by hand. Now the government or the technology has came up. They're using tractor now. So who was using the like hand labor or physical labor, they will be unemployed because of structural change within the economy. Okay. Like some people used to work as a typist using typewriter. Now we don't need that anymore. That job gone. Okay. Like film, like Kodak film, Fuji film, those things are gone. People working in those things, gone. Unemployed. It is structural unemployed. Cyclical unemployment, because of business activities, because of government intervention. Government increased the wage rate of Australia, for example. There will be unemployment because of this. These are known as cyclical unemployment or natural unemployment, we call that too. Like business, when the business goes through bad time, like in here, I showed you guys in here, when the business will be going through going downward, they will be sacking their staff. So this is nothing to do, it's normal, it's very natural, the business will be going down. Okay, that time there will be unemployment. That's why we call it natural unemployment. Very natural, it will happen. Okay. So this is the thing, how do we calculate unemployment rate? We calculate unemployment rate by unemployed people divided by labor force. Labor force means people who are employed and unemployed both. People who is below 15 years, they are not part of the labor force. People who is over 65, okay, I'm talking about ILO, International Labour Organization's definition, who is over 65, we do not consider them as a part of the labor force. They are not a part of the labor force. because they cannot work. That's what we mean. Okay. So who is the labor force? Who is employed looking for a job? These people are labor force. So labor force is equal to employed people plus unemployed people. So unemployment rate will be unemployed divided by labor force, or unemployed divided by employed plus unemployed multiplied by 100. This is unemployment rate. Okay. Let me see if I can make it. Yeah, it's better now. Looking better now. Actually, it was previously was better. This one looks like an equation there. Okay, and participation rate. We see this is called participation rate. Out of what within the working age, 15 to 15 plus to 65 working age, civilian population, we call them civilian population who is over 15. Okay, those two civilians. So labor force divided by civilian population, that will be known as participation rate. Okay. All right, I think I will stop it in there for today. Yeah. Okay, I'll stop it in there. Inflation, we have a big chapter on inflation. All right, any questions for me, guys?
Not from me.
Thank you. I will stop the recording.